have they ever been somewhere where there's been like a massive culture shock and it's like changed your perspective on the world? I feel like I've been to a lot of places that it's been such a culture shock, and I don't know, it does make you kind of look at things a bit differently. So it'd be interesting to hear what they would think about that.
I have been, but it wasn't during touring. It was actually, my father's Egyptian, and he brought me to Egypt for the first time when I was, I believe, 11 years old. And that wasn't so much the culture shock as much as I went back in 2015 and as an adult, and that was a culture shock because I saw it two different ways, as when I was a child and when I was an adult. And I think their culture is there's so many, first of all, there's so many people there outside all the time. Um, and there's so little crime. It's like, and, um, and there's so much joy. Like, that's what I saw. I mean, and I was to three places in Egypt: Cairo, Luxor, and Alexandria. So those are the major cities that I went to. I was also to Giza, like different areas of those, around those areas, but those were the major metropolis that I went to. But what I found was culturally, there was just a very different, like people held hands, and like people, and it wasn't considered odd, or like, and people like would kiss you on the cheek when they greet, like it was just more touchy, and it was more loving. I don't mean that in a derogatory way towards our culture. I just mean, it was when I went as a child, I immediately felt like never wanted to leave there. Like and keep in mind, adolescence is a very strange time. I was at an age where I wasn't really fitting in school. I wasn't the popular kid, let's put it that way. So to go there and feel like all this acceptance was like, I want to stay here. But then going back as an adult and seeing like the Great Pyramids and seeing like camels running around the pyramids, but then going to the city and seeing it very Americanized, very Western civilized, like the October 6th area, which was developed to be like very European style, and like very touristy and big malls and stuff, is very different. And even the way they try to culturally make it more European, it's still Egyptian. You know what I mean? Like, it's still Arabic. Like, it's beautiful in its own way. But it's such a culture shock in that it made me want to bring that back to my life here, and in my relationships here, that I feel like, and it's not like, oh, like black and white, like everything's great there, everything's terrible here. There's equal, there's also not so great stuff there, and not so great, compared to here. But that was the thing that I first noticed, was how, um, just how, how many people are there, and how much, passion, and that the passion and the temper wasn't something that had to be civilized or reserved or pulled back, and yet there wasn't this high crime rate, or this like, nobody had to restrain themselves. And I thought, but when I'm here, if I'm like that, people are like, yo, settle down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very different way. Some people really can't take me, you know what I mean? And some people love it, but like, I decided, when I went back there in 2015 and I came back here, I'm like, I'm going to be myself. It culture shocked me into being myself and being like, because I'm half European, like my cultures come from, my mother was Belgian, my father was Egyptian. So, but I was born American, obviously, but both those cultures I've seen. And I chose to be more myself from going there, and just being like, I have this history, and I have um, this broad, like, traveling. I got to travel the world, like, because of my parents, basically. I got to see two areas of the world I never would have seen, that other people may not have seen, because their parents aren't directly descended from these areas and have family in those areas. So I decided I was going to be more myself as a result of it. That's really how it affected me.